Episode opens on all the main characters eating cliché, also eating something that very much looks like breakfast for lunch.
Any clue when our house guest is finally gonna leave?
If you all continue to talk loud enough for him to hear you through the open archway in the adjacent room, this problem may solve itself.
We don't have a ceiling fan.
Homes that don't come with ceiling fans pre-installed.
Anyway, then I got fired from my job. My wife left me, broke both my legs, failed the bar exam.
Bar exams? If you go to school for 4 years to learn how to do a job, there's no need for an additional test afterward. Either incorporate the exam into law school or abolish it. As it stands now, it's just a way to gatekeep an already shitty profession. But I didn't mean to get so serious, so I'll hand things back to you, Mr. Poopy Butthole.
Ooh-wee, I'm Mr. Poopy Butthole, and this is Rick and Morty Season 7!
Breaking the fourth wall with your poopy butthole.
Hey, buddy. Brought you a coffee.
Calling your grandfather buddy. He's not your buddy, he's your grandfather. Friends aren't family and family aren't friends. The quicker we all understand that, the easier it will be to tell your boss to f*** off when he tries to make you feel like by using the expression, we're all family here. And no, you're f***ing not. I apologize for raising my voice. I might be working out some things. Thank you all for being very understanding, because I have to say, I really think of you all as family. Damn it.
Okay, I need to make gravity part of its finished business and leave floors unfinished.
How would making the floors unfinished help the ghost to stop from phasing through said floor? Possible I don't understand the differences between finished and unfinished in this context, but I'm also questioning a person that's so intelligent they can create robot ghosts, so maybe I'm the unfinished aspect of this scenario? Damn it, Rick and Morty, quit making me contemplate the psychological and philosophical aspects of a scene. I just want to hear poopy butthole said a couple hundred more times.
Is this an intervention of me not intervening?
It appears so, and that is way too much interventioning of the intervening while everyone else is intervening the intervention.
You're mean, Dad.
Pick your battles, honey.
Haha, yeah, you, Summer.
So we're not only getting a new voice for Rick, but also a character trait that appreciates Jerry? Because I'm not okay with that second thing.
I also found your Federation hit list.
Don't go through my stuff!
Bird kids.
Let's launch him to a bar.
It would undercut our messaging.
Bird person would be the licensed intervention officer at TVSins. Not wearing a helmet while you're riding a motorcycle.
Bird daughter is a total bitch. If you're a parent, you can say that.
You most certainly cannot.
Well, should we do shots?
Let's get riggedy right!
Love the enthusiasm and bad decision making, but those aren't shot glasses. Those are Weizen glasses. If you're gonna have a drinking problem, at least be accurate about it. This horrible bartender who turns his back on 4 pores.
That one's not my belly button.
Well, what is it?
Why is everyone assuming that the non-belly button hole is the one closest to the human pubic area? This creature's non-belly button could be anywhere, and they should all be looking alarmed. I refuse to believe that of all the moments in history, this man has 0p leave the tank.
We're on Earth.
Earth has people who can grow wings out of their backsides? Have I missed the episode where humans and aliens are living together in rave harmony?
Hugh married my cousin, which I guess makes him a Wolverine-law.
Hold it right, Javier, bub. We'll do the dad jokes around here, and we will happily claw our way into a pun-off. So, you know, watch it.
Ackman is Australian slang for
Damn it! Australians get all the best slang. Did you know in the land down under they call sheep jumbucks? Jumbucks! We say sheep because they make that sound, but they're all like, F that, these floofs are jumbucks, and no one will ever need to know why.
Don't accept other people's limitations.
That's horrible advice. When I ignored my friend's limitations and tried to hit 125 while driving in rural Oklahoma, I lost control and killed, well, nothing. It's Oklahoma. There's really nothing to hit. But I did total my 1995 Ford Contour. That was like a $500 mistake, and afterwards I had to drive my cousin's Geo Metro for 6 months, which is a fate worse than death. So maybe accept some limitations.
You're a vampire, brother. You feed off other people's energy.
Outside of what we do in the shadows, this is not how vampires work. And Hugh Jackman, you are know what we do in the shadows. I know it hurts to hear, but I just like to rip the Band-Aid off immediately.
A real friend would have known it's not my birthday!
Basing friendship on whether or not someone knows your birthday. Because, to be clear, no one remembers your birthday. Unless you're on Facebook. And then don't kid yourself, they didn't remember then either. They just pressed a button to send you fake confetti.
You think I don't know a half-assed intervention when I see one coming?
Nearly every participant of AE's intervention somehow makes its way into the episode.
Now, did you do this, Cocorna?
Not seeing all these people when you were looking right at them just a second ago. PB's baby doesn't have shards of glass stuck in its face. Also kidnapping.
That's not mud!
But if the animators can't make the "that's not mud" look like something other than the regular mud, then how is it funny? Oh, no matter how nitpicky I can be, the show always makes me laugh. Good to know that even when there are major changes, the product doesn't suffer.
Why is this my thing?
Being this upset that you have the ability to suck on your own gears.
Yes, you didn't see season 4, episode 3.
Assuming most of your audience stuck around after season 3.
Who's got the 3 dots on their forehead now?
To be fair, those 3 dots were there the whole time. These 4 inebriated individuals, one of which is f***ing Gene, take down a predator.
Oh, a musket?
No, that's a flintlock pistol. A musket's a long gun. Learn how to properly Second Amendment, PB, or get the f*** out of this country.
Rick, it was canonical to see you.
You might want to hold off on declaring canon until the new voice actors settle into their roles.
Kept in touch with the guys over the years, as much as you can in this fast world.
Poopy butthole narration. Poopy-ration? Narrow butthole?
Gearhead went back to the gear system and got a spinal replacement. He's still paying it off.
America's healthcare system.
And possibly to put a bullet in all future Wolverine references.
With Deadpool 3 on the way? Doubt it.
I can 3D print you an apartment on the moon.
Waiting until this very moment to offer that solution. Sounds like you should have started with that.
Well, here I go pilling again.
We didn't see anyone pop a fading pill before, so the effects must have taken longer than they do now, which only means the fade pill works sinfully in time with the plot. Discount animated Sam Elliott.
So he could have survived if he just stood back 5 feet.
Well, to be fair, when he was being mowed over, it slowed the vehicle down significantly. Grinding up a body takes a lot of effort for a lawnmower. Don't ask me how I know that. Oh, Jerry must be able to see Rick is in here, but still decides to touch this head bucket thing as if he's unaware that Rick has inverted people he likes far more for doing far less.
I asked Gene if he borrowed my rake, and he said no, like that, like too fast. I think he has my rake.
The single brain cell that Jerry found as a child and forced into his ear hole is obviously busy measuring its nasal cavity with a power drill right now if Jerry for 1 second thinks this is something Rick would ever help him with.
But if I had your brain...
If you had my... I am so sick of this born smart shit.
Rick swaps their minds in reaction to Jerry's comments. So why is one of the brain strainers already hooked up and ready to go, and this second one is on his workbench as if he was already tinkering with it? Feels kind of weird that Rick is always prepared to do a Freaky Friday.
So we're swapping bodies?
No, that would be Freaky Friday.
Rick and Morty episode mentions the thing they're riffing off so they don't get accused of ripping off said thing, as if we care about such distinctions in a show this hilarious. Yes, that sounds like a sin removal, but it is not.
I'm going to put my mind in your brain and your mind in my brain.
Look, I'm stunned that Rick is wasting a single nanosecond trying to teach Jerry something, but doing it in a way that requires Rick to be in Jerry's mind feels like potty training a kid by shitting in your own pants.
Medical emergency detected.
The medical emergency bot isn't programmed with the ability to predict medical emergencies before they happen. In any other show, that would be an unfair expectation, but Rick turned himself into a pickle one time, and that really moved the bar on what's plausible.
Jerry, your mind did that to my body using my brain.
Jerry, my mind was in this brain in your body. Pretty easy to follow.
It is not, and the show knows that, which means the show knows that I know that. And I know that the show knows that I'll know that and not be able to unknow it, and therefore be distracted enough to pretend I don't know it. Right?
Car, engage castration protocol right now!
Castration protocols. Society.
Am I really about to die because you watched a Freaky Friday?
Calm down, Morty. Hollywood's been botching Freaky Friday for decades and no one has died. You just find little pieces of your soul slowly eroding away over time. Covering a whole bunch of murder by making the murderees nameless crime aliens and setting said murdering to the white stripes.
Hey, get up here!
Said the throat to the hand.
Things my throat has never said to a hand. Chuxley survives this.
You cone-headed son of a bitch! Can't believe that worked!
I wish they did that in the movie.
We all do, Rick/Jerry. We all do.
They made us stop at every drive-thru chain in the galaxy so they can make one giant burger.
And they did! But then they decided to immediately discard it and just eat a regular-sized burger instead. This show is f***ing weird. Now I'm really curious what the remaining 0.13% thinks this rake actually is.
It's a shame those guys had to become us to be happy.
Episode wants me to believe that if you combine Rick and Jerry, you'd end up with an extremely content and well-rounded person instead of a self-doubting, overconfident, genius dumbass with delusions of grandeur and imposter syndrome. Or a regular-ass human, as they're more commonly known.
You were in a tree? Really gambled on this escape route.
Rick Airy would be Jerixcellent to TVSins.
So they just stick burgers in dead guys' mouths now?
In dead criminals' mouths, Summer.
You're defending them.
I didn't take that as a defense as much as a factually accurate description of a character based on the available facts. Irritating B-plot filler girl.
I should be thanking you for making me rich.
Wait, I didn't pay you for this.
Yeah, these guys did.
These guys, who timed their entrance perfectly with this reveal, even though they couldn't have known this conversation was even happening.
I got something you might want to hear.
I mean, I guess Rick and Jerry could just believe Chuxley about the screams belonging to Beth and the kids, but there's no way they could know that for sure from those muffled screams.
Jerry?
Rick?
Grandpa?
Jesus Christ!
This show making me believe that Jesus Christ was actually a possibility here, and the ensuing disappointment when there was no Jesus Christ.
Holy sh! All the positive aspects of each perfectly melded together?
In other words, Rick and Morty went full-on Tuvix, and you never go full-on Tuvix. Honestly, you shouldn't even go half Tuvix, or really any f***ing Tuvix. Just don't f***ing Tuvix.
I am Jericki.
Okay, this is immediately raising some biological red flags for me. Like, if the Jerry head eats something, does it pass through the Rick head's skull? Why did they choose to keep Rick's pants but make Jerry's arm legs naked? And why, if given the option, would you use the human centipede as your inspiration instead of Voltron? I know the chains are slightly wobbling, but Beth, Summer, and Morty should still be soup right now instead of saved.
I knew this day would come.
What day? The day that a genius/waste of evolution hybrid would steal all of your drugs, snort them, and then return to kill you after you held his family hostage? That is some very specific foresight you have there, my friend.
Do you not hear the symphony of atoms dying in space?
No, thank you. I don't want to be alone with my own thoughts. Skip.
I have modified the house defenses. They will ensure the mob never bothers you again.
We've seen this house fight off all sorts of craziness. Was a group of aliens inspired by the Mafia really a threat that required an upgrade? What was the adjustment? A hotline to the alien IRS? That was a solid Al Capone tax evasion joke. Just go watch The Untouchables.
I thought when you came to rescue us, you learned to love us more than ever. You learned the opposite?
Assuming that someone leaving means they don't love you. People can love you deeply and still want to be very far away from you and never want to see you and generally want nothing to do with you at all. That's totally normal. Please, tell me that's normal. Tell me that's normal.
I am Jericki, and I only need to love myself.
I mean, I'm as shocked as anyone Rick hasn't invented something for that ability, but I can tell you there's at least a 99.87% chance that the newly formed Jericki is too tall to properly love himself.
You can't actually be leaving, right?
Expecting me to sacrifice my precious cares on whether or not Jerry and Ricky are coming or going when it's A, only episode 2, B, multiverses exist, and C, this isn't even the Rick and Jerry we started with. Honestly, I'd barely blink if they changed voice actors.
You guys don't give a goddamn shit about Gene.
Preach! And yet, ironically or otherwise, the show keeps wasting precious minutes on him.
Both of you walking out on Mom? I thought you had 2 sets of balls, not 0.
Assuming the scope of your genitals has anything to do with the quality of your character.
Quick, tackle this f***ing thing!
Wow, you're just gonna skip over how Beth, Summer, and Morty managed to science the shit out of separating Rick and Jerry? Just gonna straight up not write that scene, huh? Just gonna hope we all won't question it and that we'll eventually be distracted by something at the Where's all the cutlery? Why are they only using forks? And where's the f***ing orange juice, coffee, and condiments?
Well, those horses won't sew themselves up.
Saying this within earshot of a man you know could make this happen and put you out of a job. Shitting on The Simpsons by giving them a room in Jerry's brain as a cameo 8 years after they gave you an entire couch gag. I could be reaching there, but if it starts an all-out multiversal war between The Simpsons and Rick and Morty, I think it's kind of worth it.
Before we move off this topic, can I ask if you're currently a hologram?
This suggests at least one topic has been covered before Dr. Wong bothered to confirm whether she was talking to a human hologram or human hologram dinosaur hybrid. And have you met Rick Sanchez?
Would you let him bang your therapist?
I don't believe in therapy.
I don't believe in the Cleveland Browns, yet the statistics show them being consistently for the past 20 years.
We've got a situation in the state of Virginia.
All of the words on these screens looking handwritten instead of typed suggests an even bigger situation in this room.
Nazis.
That's everywhere.
That's an exaggeration, sir.
It is not.
You've heard the state motto, Virginia is for lovers?
That's actually more of a tourism slogan. We all know that the motto has something to do with a T-Rex that had fallen ill while putting on a stage production that was critically panned by Abraham Lincoln.
America knows and incinerates a cult when it sees one.
Swifties have entered the chat, assimilated the administrator, and have begun to use it as a hub of organizing resources and planning the takeover and conversion of the MSG Sphere into an extrasolar vehicle. Episode will not pay off this Yeti prophecy, but the show will expect me to be impressed when they bring it back a year from now in an episode about the abominable snowman accidentally consuming whatever the space equivalent of cocaine is.
I'm so sorry, Mr. President. Virginia is closed to visitors.
Believing that Virginia completely isolating itself is a problem that requires fixing. This parenthetical seems like a wholly inadequate way to describe the weapon of mass destruction that is Rick Sanchez. Damn it, Rick and Morty, is this going to be a vomit episode? The fact that you picked vomit as your mind-controlled delivery method of choice instead of touch, brainwaves, or f***ing hand jobs says more about you than it does me. Why would you want to animate this instead of a hand job?
So that's it? You're all just drunk.
Realizing key elements of your fandom 7 seasons in.
Pick up your phone, asshole. When I call, it's an actual emergency.
But if it's an emergency, why did you reach for the phone instead of the portal gun? You were obviously coming here anyway, and who chooses to add a phone call to their existence if at all avoidable?
We're surrounded, and Unity knows your reload time.
Not thinking that Rick would be able to randomize his refractory period.
Calm down. We came because we're worried about you.
Vomit aside, I was actually having a great time with this episode until it revealed that Unity traveled across the galaxy, assimilated an entire state, and declared independence from America, all to get Rick's attention so she can talk about how much she still cares, which ironically means I suddenly don't.
I tried calling, but is it true you're looking for him again?
When you pronoun game this explicitly, I start to question my efficacy. And no one makes me question my own efficacy.
Sorry, that was supposed to be suppressive.
Every American conflict ever.
Cue up the dome. Yes, sir!
Equipping your helicopter with a big-ass handle for the sole purpose of activating a dome is completely in line with what I imagine the government bean counters believe to be fiscally responsible.
Do you have a dome the size of every state?
You'll need a second date for that answer.
Trading state secrets for second dates. The Constitution clearly states it has to be at least a fourth date / second base situation to avoid an impeachment. Also, I don't know what's more objectionable, that he counts hiring her as a first date or this trip to Virginia.
A nation in turmoil tonight as the entire state of Virginia continues to be trapped inside an energy dome.
A nation in turmoil? I very much doubt anyone in Georgia, Nebraska, or Connecticut is giving any of their to Virginia being turned into a snow globe sans snow.
This president has been in office for how many alien invasions?
Listen, disastrous happens regardless of who bought their way into office. What you should criticize him for is how terribly he handled each disaster. Oh, and his dependence on an amoral, chaotic, neutral, cybernetically enhanced grandfather. And a 14-year-old.
Then he sees Virginia with its perfect economy and synchronized lawn mowing, so he shoots them and puts them in a dome?
Is she totally ignoring the zombie people in their oral evictions? Either this is what Virginia looks like on any given day, or this news channel is willfully ignorant of the truth and spreading misinformation. It's both, isn't it?
Now I get to beat you.
Bring it.
What is this, a pocket constitution? When has that ever been used to hold a president accountable?
If it connects to another mind, it could become its own colony.
Oh, wow. You made a PowerPoint?
Nice try, Rick. But one slide with a fancy graphic does not a PowerPoint presentation make. I'm going to need flashy text transitions, at least 3 different fonts per slide, and proof that you spent 3 hours looking for the perfect image from the depths of clip art. Also, how many times do I have to explain this? If adding one extra mind to a mindless collective would give it direction, social media would have solved the problem that is Ohio years ago.
I'm sorry you lost a finger, but that's the price of surprise butt play.
I mean, come on. That's hilarious and good advice.
If you invite me to the wedding, I will in the punch.
Rick's got a doo-doo in his butt. Cliche.
I need boundaries.
Well, here's a big one, face.
Kids.
Fact is, nothing short of literally a 100% approval rating is going to save Curtis in the next election.
This Deus Ex news position inspires President Curtis to finally use Chekhov's hive mind.
Holy
But why didn't an intelligence already under the dome take control of the hive? Why not a squirrel, a pigeon, or a reasonably resourceful rat? Basically, I refuse to believe President Curtis is the smartest organism left under the dome.
Such a beautiful scene. Everyone kissing.
Kissing, intimate vomit exchange, whatever you want to call it. Why is no one taking a defensive posture or at least closing their own mouths?
Uh-oh. Did somebody close the lady tunnel?
Government officials finding a way to blame a problem on the female reproductive system.
Someone order cranky dick?
The slogan for my rejected wind-up sex toy somehow makes it into the script.
He's going to assimilate the Earth faster than I can fight it.
Previous seasons have made Rick so unbelievably powerful that now when Rick says he can't solve something, I don't believe that either.
I need Unity's help, so you need to convince her I'm worth it.
You aren't.
Your therapist saying this to you.
Inbound vessel detected.
Tell him to turn around.
When your crew is part of your hive mind, you generally don't have to give audible directions, right?
Tell me in person. I'm already here.
Damn it! But your ship was just...
You have your gimmicks, I have mine.
Knowing Rick, but not knowing that one of his gimmicks is portals.
You had an outer space lady who was worried for your life, and your response was hostile enough to cause a huge problem.
This feels like some utter cow turd disguised as therapy. Couldn't Unity have just left him the f alone? I can count on one hand the number of times I've broken up with someone, left them a few voicemails, and then decided to force my will upon an entire state of a sovereign nation on a planet that isn't my own. It's almost never my go-to reaction.
So you're asking for an invasion?
Yes, he was, but I don't think that meant it had to be a textbook Roland Emmerich-style assault on all major cities and recognizable landmarks with wide establishing shots cliché kind of invasion. This just looks like a typical day in Las Vegas. I can smell this episode. I should not be able to smell an episode. Fire extinguishers evolving to be exactly the same for far-off alien species as they are for humans on Earth, and then hitting a technological plateau. This mini fridge would be just as accessible with a door on the front of the cabinet as it is popping up through the counter. I've mistaken this over-engineering as actual space saving for years.
Heard you were saying some really great things about Scientology. If you ever want to meet Travolta...
And playback!
Acknowledging that South Park raised the bar so high on Scientology burns that you have no option but to settle for the low-hanging fruit.
That's it? No! Call it separated idea. Barf.
Everyone kisses. Hello, sir.
The sin-off doesn't mean much, but I do want to recognize Rick and Morty for providing a well-placed trigger warning at the top of the episode. However, and unfortunately, I'm giving it right back for not putting the same warning at the top of episode 2, which also had a graphic suicide. Pick a lane, guys. Do you care or not?
Who's ready for Rick's famous spaghetti?
I have never once thrown my phone at a wall and had it snap clean in half like this. I can't even imagine what it would need to be made out of in order for it to break this way. I feel like I'm going to be distracted by this for the rest of the episode because there's nothing weirder they could possibly put in front of my eyes. Right?
I love Spaghetti Thursdays! Oh my...
Spaghetti Thursdays? This food plus day of the week naming technique does not follow the very important rule of the first letter in each word matching. You can have Spaghetti Saturdays or even Spaghetti Sundays. Thursdays are reserved for tuna, Totino's, or talcum powder. It's better to just not ask about that last one. That was a dark time. Look, Leonardo da Vinci invented some cool shit, but even he was unable to invent a way to serve up such a perfect portion of spaghetti and bolognese in one scoop.
Grandpa Rick, I am skull emoji, but words.
Oh, is that how you'd prefer we did this summer? Well, I am. And most importantly, but words too.
God, no, why? Why? No, why is it always this with you? Of course it's a person.
Morty has every right to be mad, but he's also a dumbass for missing several red flags here. Firstly, he seems oblivious to the fact that Spaghetti Thursday starts with an open corpse in the garage that we can see is easy to stumble upon. Secondly, Rick clearly hasn't been using the kitchen, so where did he think the spaghetti making was happening? Thirdly, and most red flagishly, not questioning the fact that Rick decided to do something nice for the family. Either this planet is tiny with huge buildings or regular sized with f***ing huge buildings, and either option seems like an odd and burdensome architectural choice.
On this planet, people that kill themselves turn into spaghetti.
Is a thing I have to try and be funny about without making it seem like I've missed the joke, subtext, or multi-layered metaphor. In other words, another day sinning Rick and Morty.
It's almost better cold.
I wouldn't go that far. Don't be a hipster.
There's not enough irony, weird mustaches, or hats involved for this to be something hipsters do.
I'm calling the police.
Before you do that, just...
Oh, Rick, stop!
What? Where am I?
Super genius Rick does this.
I just want to be honest about something. After Lawrence died, we, ate him.
We're supposed to believe Morty's doing this to clear his conscience, but if he has a conscience, how can he not see how unconscionable it is to say this shit at the poor man's funeral? The show seems to want to have its spaghetti and make its characters atone for it too, and I just want to let them eat cake. What? Does it make any sense? This episode is weird and it's making me weirder.
So we were eating people.
Wait a second. Earlier Morty said,
I want their names or I'm telling Mom.
Rick held up his end of the bargain, so why the f are we suddenly telling the whole family instead of moving on to something less f***ing weird, like a character called Mr. Poopy Butthole?
Hard to put out of your mind, yes. Which is why I thought it best to keep you all in the dark.
Well, then why did you bring the entire f***ing body home with you? Why can't you harvest the spaghetti on Spaghetti Planet and then bring it home in Tupperware containers? How does Rick not have Tupperware?
So keep eating them!
We can't now!
Because of you! Sorry.
Morty, that was terrible parenting.
Oh man, here? Now? Really? After 7 seasons, this is where you decide your parenting has crossed the line into terrible.
You are invited to 41 Kepler B. You know it as Spaghetti Planet. You're not in trouble. We just want to talk.
Morty chooses to believe this random sentient spaceship and let it take him to 41 Kepler B. Just because the spaceship speaks the truth doesn't make it any less stupid that Morty goes along with all of this.
We're all very special and different, but we definitely all do like spaghetti.
We do not.
Let me guess. You went back to the planet, gave some thoughtful insight to their leader, and now they're selling their dead at every space Walmart.
The sad realization that if we ever did start colonizing other planets, there would most assuredly be some Walmarts on said planets.
Is this people or not people? I just need to know how much I should pretend to be upset.
I love it when Rick and Morty use their irreverent format to challenge the big topics in society. Topics like, do we really want to know where our food comes from? Wrapped up in a right to die metaphor, among others. It's good 10 out of 10. What I don't love is using Jerry to say the quiet part out loud and stripping away all the nuance out of the metaphor for the benefit of the real world Jerrys in the back row. Don't pander to the Jerrys. They're not listening anyway.
I was a serial killer and cannibal, and now I get to kill myself and be food for you.
This company's building a fucking hologram into every can, and that is an expense they really didn't need to bother with. The only marketing most people need is the word organic, and a quick quote about how the recipe came from Uncle Roy in the 1920s, like, oh, he was a massive racist, but damn it, he knew how to make a good spaghetti.
None of this would have happened if you'd been honest about the spaghetti.
Regardless of when Rick told Morty where the spaghetti came from, Morty would still feel ethically obligated to fix Spaghetti Planet's problems by making 1,000 more problems for Rick to solve.
Okay, so we just need to figure out something else besides people to put in the cans, right?
Can't you just, and hear me out now because this might sound a little weird, can't you just use actual Earth spaghetti?
I love you, Clone 5617B.
I guess all clone stories turn out the same way.
I mean, the island didn't really. They cloned Tyrone certainly didn't, and neither did Star Wars Attack of the Clones, as much as we wish it probably had.
It's in horrible, unimaginable pain from the moment it's born.
Oh, jeez. Oh, no, Rick.
So I didn't even bother to make it because I knew you'd take issue.
All right, stop the car. So Rick came up with an idea, abandoned it, gave the abandoned idea a sell. Also, he could show the abandoned idea to Morty so that he could tell him he abandoned the idea he knew he wouldn't approve of? I do not believe Rick had the time or will for this.
Maybe give them a claw-like hand so they can, stab themselves to death?
But why are you assuming they would want to stab themselves to death? If this existence is all they've known, why would you assume they want it to end? Dung beetles literally spend their entire lives in shit, but you don't see them deliberately drowning themselves in fecal matter, do you? It's more believable to me that Rick was able to clone the spaghetti-filled torsos than being able to set up a system that evenly distributes the spaghetti to the cans.
Were you?
You're gonna blow yourself up?
I know that trying to find logic in the instinctual need for society to polarize every topic is a big ask, but if these guys are fighting for the rights of the torsos, then why are they going to blow them up? Isn't that killing more torsos? Shouldn't they be trying to free the torsos? Rick, Morty, and the president of the Spaghetti Planet survive this.
What's the f***ing holdup? I've got an entire planet waiting on delivery.
When the spaghetti delivery ships left earlier, no one was out here trying to get to the planet. Where were all of you then?
Did you have a euthanasia chamber ready to go?
Morty isn't doing so great on the won't ask questions promise he made earlier when Rick decided to help him clean up this mess. Skip? Yep, we're skipping the whole emotional finale montage thing. Solid point was being made about would you still eat bacon if you were friends with the pig debate, but it's presented through this manufactured and emotionally manipulative life story that is several notches of up beyond what the inside-out critters in my brain can handle. Look, if you really want to see what happens, fine, but it'll be through the lens of me nitpicking some of the pettiest shit possible to offset the profoundness of the subject matter. Swapping gum is gross. This jersey just says sports ball. This trophy is for a skill set that is far too specific to be worthy of celebration. Not everyone can be a winner, and peddling this idea leads to unrealistic expectations and pressures our kids to always be the best, when statistically that is not possible. These frozen people who all stopped mid-applause. Math. This working lava lamp isn't plugged into anything. Driving in the passing lane with no intention of passing anyone. Using your nose-picking, ass-digging digits instead of a fucking spoon. Are you all happy now?
Bon appetit.
More vomit. Again? After last episode? Doesn't even make sense this time. Tears, I understand, but why does it always have to be vomit? I swear, Rick and Morty, I will back-to-back bonus roundhouse kick you into triple sin digits, and don't you think I won't?
You couldn't change everyone's taste buds, but you could make it distasteful.
But how will this help them with all the people that have ordered spaghetti but aren't currently on the planet to see this? It's a nice sentiment, especially for Rick and Morty, but doesn't make the fact that it works any less bullshitty.
Holy shit, this is the best Salisbury steak I've ever had.
The best Salisbury steak you've ever had still equals a pretty fucking gross meal, so I'm not buying anyone's excitement here.
Is it actually Salisbury steak?
Do you want to know or not?
No thanks.
Whew, because the secret is that Salisbury steak wasn't named after Salisbury, England, but after some dude called Salisbury who lived in Missouri. That's right, you're eating Missouri food, f***ers. Just when we thought this episode couldn't get any grosser.
Wow, another adventure where I went up an ass.
Cliché.
Yeah, pal. Rick and Morty.
Oh, great, Evil Morty's back, which means I'll have to do extra research to even remember what was actually happening the last time Evil Morty made an appearance.
An eye patch. You know how we feel about pirates.
Budget Morty Rental Rick decides to be Callback Rick. Also, show gives us a John Carpenter-style score and gives us a character with an eye patch, but said character is not Snake Plissken. Man, this show really hates people enjoying spaghetti. Also, it's both odd and convenient that just about every time a Rick and or Morty go to a different world to encounter that Rick and Morty, they're sitting down at a table eating together as a family. Do you know how many families sit down for every meal and eat together in 2023? I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but if you said more than 1%, I'd call you a liar. I'd have an easier time believing the scribble in this article is actual words if the headlines were in actual scribbles.
Buddy, infinite families don't invent the world's first.
3 different discount versions of the Jetsons, and only 2 were mercifully removed from their ankles, leaving 1 to experience the horrors of the place the event horizon went. This sequence in whatever space this is just makes me think of Candy Crush, and much like the game of Candy Crush, that is precious minutes, if not hours, that I will never get back.
It's just good to see you outside the sub-basement, even if you never kill the version of yourself that killed your wife.
Backhanded compliments.
Merging dimensions to consolidate my decoys, huh?
Oh great, Rick Prime is back, which means I'll have to do extra research to even remember what was actually happening the last time Rick Prime made an appearance.
Evil Morty! Should I grab the net?
Yes!
With all the technology they're using right now to find Rick Prime, their only contingency for Evil Morty is a net. This should probably get a sin for being an absurdity within a cavalcade of the absurd, but damn it, the show is so cute sometimes.
You're basically fracking the central finite curve to flesh out a version of yourself.
Evil Morty deciding to be Exposition Morty.
Shouldn't you be turning yourself into a pickle?
Evil Morty deciding to be Callback Morty.
At least filter for probability stasis?
By analyzing phasic trends among your distributive frequencies, I've identified this random science jargon being used to prove that a character has seized the intellectual high ground.
Dude, literal glass house.
I believe some of the stuff in this room is probably some kind of glass, but this is no fucking house. However, since I'm a nice guy, if they're willing to dedicate an entire episode to a storyline that ultimately proves this is in fact a house, I'll remove this sin. Promise.
Son of a bitch! You killed my wife!
This ricocheting bullet somehow doesn't hit anyone except the one person with a personal force field, and that is some ricocheting bullshit.
She's also been erased from every universe across infinity, and you might be wondering why.
I'd rather hear how.
Evil Morty would be the one asking the questions at TVSins.
All you have to do is be the last Rick left.
Does Rick Prime not have his traps filter out Morty's because he doesn't care? Or is this just shoddy craftsmanship? First, it was stagecraft being used during the production of The Mandalorian. Then it was the construction of the monstrosity known as the MSG Sphere. And now we have Rick's going all in on LED technology as well. When will it end?
You sucked at eating cake!
So is sucking a bad thing? Her tone suggested it was a bad thing, but maybe she was just being passionate? You know what? I'm just going to make a note to circle back on this.
I took a heroic step toward the portal.
Title of my sex tape?
Prime!
Jeff Bezos on any given Monday.
Wow, the wife guy. Dead wife Rick.
Considering Rick Prime wiped Diane out from all realities, aren't a lot of the Ricks dead wife Ricks at this point? How does this distinguish any one Rick from another?
Uncle Slow!
What the Uncle Slow?
Wait, is Slow Mobius actually family? Or is he family? In like a Dom Toretto sense? Because it feels like you're retconning him into your genealogy just so the show doesn't have to kill Jerry. Because we all know Jerry was the only other option. Since when can Uncle Slow just manifest his clocks like this? He's always just walking around with these things out at family gatherings. Only now, after he's gone, do we find out he had this other power all along. I guess you could never really fully know someone.
Kind of the worst worst possible time to use his powers. Just made the death happen slower.
Actually, he died pretty instantly once he hit the big ball thingy of random energy, Morty. Just because you wouldn't use your powers to treasure your last few seconds of existence doesn't mean you can insult a long-standing member of this family. Giving yourself your own personal Belial and not using it until just now. This Rick Prime is a real basket case. Even for Rick, the fact that he survives this is very sinful. Eli Roth's Rick and Morty.
Is it over? Is he not exactly an alive amount of blood?
Said as if a Rick needs to be alive to survive something. After 6+ seasons, we yet again have another example of a musical montage trying to make us feel things on a show that spends 99% of its time laughing in the face of anyone trying to feel things. This is like trying to f*** over your proverbial cake and sentimentally eat it too. People that think it's funny to get sprayed with a water hose while fully clothed. Thinking the comfort of Aunt Slow eventually finding happiness amidst tragedy means we will forgive you for taking our dear uncle from us too soon. Manually opening a garage door from the outside when there's no handle of any kind to grab onto. Also forcing me to use my imagination to explain this pink floppy not plumbus. The esophageal discomfort associated with drinking while laying down.
So I got receipts, bitch. I kept notes.
Those are not receipts. Those are pieces of paper where Morty wrote some titles of adventures down that may have happened, but you can't prove that because they're written on a piece of paper, even though weirdly enough actual receipts are pieces of paper with things written on them.
Oh, I'm here for this.
Oh, I am not. Having only 2 really long abs.
Now gaze upon me, and so shall you.
We're now going to see a bunch of clips of adventures that we've never actually seen Rick and Morty go on. However, a show mainly full of clips is still a clip show. You can only paint these so many shades of gray, Rick and Morty.
One of us tells only truths, the other only lies.
But both of you are doing a discount labyrinth.
I'm not here to nitpick. I'm here to find blatant fraud.
Rick would be more defending my job at TVSins.
Server, show us maximum overdrive with clothes.
But once they put the cardboard boxes on in place of clothes, won't those become clothes themselves?
Hey, look, Morty! I'm a leg!
Never try to outpickle yourself. Each attempt only gets sadder.
How about some knuckle pie?
Morty the man boat expands backward from the head instead of forward from the butt. The latter would have spared us from the unwanted detour into Lord of the Castaway Lost.
Big Doug, get the truck.
Not instructing Big Doug to get the trailer too, unless you have it hitched up already. In that case, the sin is being conveniently prepared to transport a person who suddenly and without warning turns into a boat.
I like his voice. I don't like that he's doing jokes. I don't like that he's talking down to you.
I'm going to try really, really hard not to take that personally, but we'll sin it anyway.
Gotta start in the middle. Statistically the coolest.
Clearly, Rick has never chosen that strategy while eating the molten lava center that is a McDonald's apple pie. Just when I thought it was safe to eat Taco Bell again, episode decides to prove that this absolutely is a repackaged Morty's Mind Blowers. It's funny because Rick chose to complete a task less disgusting than getting Morty to chug salad dressing. Reminding me that we haven't seen Snuffles since season 1, and that when Rick reset all the portal travelers in season 6, Snuffles and all the dogs he left with should have been sent back to the Prime Dimension. Meaning there's a storyline out there where Snuffles is leading an army of cute puppies against the horde of Cronenbergs, and instead of that, we got this clip show brought to us by Rocks. So does that mean that Morty dogs are a recognized breed by the dog show boards? Because if you ever dealt with dog show people, then you'd know you'd have an easier time getting a bank to give you $1 million with no collateral.
But I do not like the looks of that jury.
Whether it's the jury being rockist or Rick being rock Judas, I think everyone would be better off without all this rockism.
Silence! The killing of an observer is unforgivable.
Then where's the person driving the automobile that hit the observer? Where is their trial?
I will address that. I'm your court-appointed defender.
I guess he never has to defend dramatic timing because he's got that nailed down.
I thought it would turn him into a gorilla.
Why would you want a bully to be a gorilla? It was a gun that kills gorillas.
Not that I wanted him to die, but if that gun didn't kill this kid, I'm pretty sure it wasn't going to kill a gorilla, and Rick doesn't get the quality of his work called into question.
Morty, this is a bully gun.
Not that I wanted him to die, but how did Morty know which way to point this thing? And it's probably better to not think too hard about why I started the sin the way I did and trust the process.
We're sitting on top of brand new science here. Let's gather some data.
Being this excited about collecting data.
Put your back into it, Morty.
Telling someone to put their back into it, but not following that up with, I can do it, put your ass into it. Ice Cube asked us to give you a sin for this, Rick and Morty, and have you ever tried saying no to Ice Cube?
It's so moist.
Rick, that's a guy.
Says the character who a couple episodes ago was eating human corpse scatty. Episode expects me to believe that a sentient churro would have the upper body strength to pull up a marlin onto a boat, and I do not believe you, episode.
I killed the versions of us that were in Space Jam. Help me with the bodies.
What?
You wouldn't need help if you portaled them somewhere else instead of the living room. It also looks like you are comfortably dragging them on your own. This is a lot of theatrics just to provide proof of your perfectly justified mercy killing.
If it pleases the court, hold on to your
But is Rick asking the court to hold on to their tits, or does he want them to watch the clip? Because...
phrasing?
Also, now more than anything, I'm just curious where the observer's tits are located. Putting a movie that I want to see among the rest of this drivel.
I observe a couple of bad apples.
Who are you calling an apple?
Director said, have these mineral-based creatures reference a fruit that they can't even eat. That way we know they're all rock holes.
Observe me harder! Harder!
These f***ing rocks.
Rick and Morty, we're back, baby!
When did they ever f***ing leave? And if they did, why didn't anyone tell me? That is some information I would have loved to have been given yesterday.
Nice. Free churro.
Nothing is free. Floor churros always come with a price. And that price is diarrhea. All of the crud comes off of this vehicle while using what looks like the second weakest setting on the spray gun. And Rick hasn't once offered up this non-stick technology to a line of cookware. Not pre-sorting your amulets by potential curses when they come into your possession. I don't even trust myself to remember which milk is still good, and they put a date on the carton and everything. Also, sitting cross-legged on the floor after kindergarten for any reason whatsoever. Doing any Rick-adjacent task without eye protection in Season 7. Oh hey, it's the room from that other time when they did the thing that made me laugh.
Jimmy Haddock's frisbee golf party is tonight.
Thinking you have a chance with Jimmy Haddocker when you're calling it frisbee golf instead of disc golf. Geez, Summer, download UDisc already and educate yourself.
It's my emotional cheat day. I am removing myself from this conversation.
Rick having an emotional cheat day is like my dog having a giraffe cheat day. Pretty sure you have to have the possibility of experiencing something before you can take a break from it. The crowd at this party seems less may the course be with you and more disc in a box. When we see Summer's attribute slider here, everything's pretty even, but after it immediately cuts to the close-up, dexterity's maxed and charisma's low. And she might have gotten away with it if my continuity slider wasn't set to OP. Also, how does this thing even work so quickly? You just press the section relating to the attribute you want more or less of, and it knows which attributes to adjust accordingly? I swear I'd have to spend an entire week charting the presets on this thing to even begin to use it. In totally unrelated news, no one will play D&D with me anymore.
Love the way you moved that coin.
The mating call of Crypto Bros in Heat. Is this banner back here supposed to be a pun off of Ultimate Frisbee? Because Ultimate has nothing to do with disc golf. And I'm beginning to wonder if the writers don't care as much about disc-based athleticism as they pretend to. And now the cake is of regular golf with a hole instead of a disc golf cage? It's too much. Make it stop. Episode wants me to believe that after all of his adventures, Rick has not realized that any piece of wearable technology should be, at minimum, water resistant to a depth of 2 meters. It's the 2-meter rule. Also, why did the plunge in the water make Morty the Quado when he was the buff one and Summer was the intelligent one? Were there rules about this I missed? Sorry, sometimes my recall is a bit more partial than total.
Thought the slider was going to be the whole thing this week.
Episode points out that its MacGuffin is in fact MacGuffin.
This is a Quado. They're basically the crown jewel of psychic mutants. Yeah.
Something like half the characters from X-Men just entered the chat. Being one of those people that has 83% battery at 9:45 p.m. This cyberpunk establishing shot is thrown in so casually that I'm not even sure if it was meant to be parody, pastiche, or a, oh, f it, just do a Blade Runner. Everyone loves Blade Runner. This attractive human Quado combo and the sudden entry of the word KILF into my subconscious. I swear Adult Swim should be paying my therapy bill at this point.
Yeah, being a mutant is rad.
Disney's daily pitch to multiple A-listers somehow makes it into the script.
Open your mind!
Oh my god, your Quado is so funny.
We're almost halfway into this episode, and all we've done so far are the same running gags about people having Quados and displaying a complete misunderstanding of the beauty and magnificence of disc golf, and I will not stand for either offense.
Welcome to Life as a Quado.
This line makes me realize that a better title for this episode would have been The Life of Quado with Mort Rixu. And somehow they still haven't offered me a job for my titling brilliance.
Oh, him steady too.
The Quado from Total Recall could use all his words. So I don't know why this whole bit feels like it should be about a tree that only says, I am Mroot.
Just yell my name like normal.
I did. Why do you think I risked it with the tongs?
Conversation in my sex tape? By the color coding rules of the Morty's Mind Vials and Rick's haphazard naming conventions, this means that he either literally screwed up his grandson's virginity or just chose to name it as such. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say both of those seem worth a sin.
He's in the Taken house!
Episode does a Taken without ever establishing that someone has a certain set of skills. I guess you don't really need to do the whole phone interview thing, but they could have at least shown us a CV.
You think anyone in that VIP section was born a Quado?
I don't think anyone anywhere is born a Quado. Nor do I think anyone anywhere still thinks this Quado gag is funny at this point. Hang on, just need to check Reddit. Well, Never mind. Plumbus Head 6699 says he laughed every time Mort Quat said free your mind all the way through the episode. So, guess I'm wrong. Show is always funny and never misses, and this episode is further proof that Rick and Morty is the greatest thing in the existence of all media. Oh look, I'm still sending it.
Who'd she leave with?
Wait a second, this guy was in the van that kidnapped Summer, but I wouldn't say she left with him. We've skipped some steps here, Rick, and you don't get full credit unless you show your work.
Where is she?
This where is she's on for all the sometime.
Hello?
Ah, the sci-fi void that gets used when you can't imagine anything more interesting than infinite nothingness.
Whoa, psychic grandpa.
No, look. Fake temple with a high-pitched noisemaker. Run before these guys figure it out!
This reveal being more important than keeping up the ruse long enough to get away with your deception, still intact and available for later use. Also known as, I won't be needing this anymore.
Open your mouth.
Episode contains approximately 73 utterances of this phrase, but never follows it with, and the rest will follow.
Whose chest is that big?
Episode has time.
Don't have time for this.
Is it just me, or does it feel like this show is starting to play defense?
I want to kick one. Ow,
As we've seen from the multiple times Rick's machine guts have spilled out, he's like 90% robot. So feeling pain is a choice he is making right now. During this fall, they crash through a skylight into a warehouse when the shot of Summer looking out at the window shows no such structure. Stupid magically manifesting boat buildings.
Try to say it's my first take-in now.
Reminding me that there's more than one Taken.
Go, Ponytail's secret move.
Does the secret move only work when the person is close by, or will it just reach out and find the closest throat to go down? Is the type of questions I find myself asking while watching this show. Thinking that a species with no nose would develop eyewear that goes across the face instead of hanging down from the head.
Not just any knife.
Quado knife!
Yeah, okay. That's funny. Take your sin off. But also, it's still kind of the exact same joke you've been doing this entire episode, so a half a sin is now emerging from the previous sin removals midsection to keep things fair.
Man, kind of a shame. That spider thing was pretty cool.
The death of the MCU.
Yeah, Morty, that's a par!
Oh, for the love of Paul Macbeth, now you're just trolling me. Here's 18 penalty strokes and an invitation to suck my disc.
Damn, Summer Smith. There is no end to your complexity.
There is. Trying to imitate and make a mockery of Squid Game when Netflix already has that covered themselves. Also not calling that stupid Squid Game game show nonsense Squib Game. Okay, I'm done now. I'd like to understand the evolutionary or at least narrative reason for why some of these letters have full faces and others have just grown eyeballs. I mean, I know the reason, but there's only so many ways you can say lazy animation before it just starts to feel mean.
I am ready to rejoin my brethren on Alpha Betrium.
I wonder which Adult Swim Patreon level you have to be subscribed to get not one but two shitty episodes dedicated to you.
The Numericons! They're attacking!
Planetary defense systems that amount to one person running in and saying, sorry guys, we're already
Divide and conquer! 0 survivors!
0 survivors? This is an entire fucking planet. That could take days, even years. And what if you kill the only guy who knows how to work the Coke machine at the Capitol building when the cans get stuck? You need to think these things through a little better is all I'm saying. Oh, are we doing the Transformers the movie parody? I really hope so, because I was worried we were going for a callbacks nobody asked for with the occasional lazy pun, the movie. Also, the lyrics here are 1 + 1 makes you, and that's just a straight up lie. 1 + 1 can maybe make a V, but you'd have to make their bottoms touch, which seems like a counterproductive way to get to a V. As Water T does some Michael Bay shit, most of the numbers just stand around and politely wait to be shot instead of shooting at him first.
Somebody kiss me! I don't want to die not knowing love!
Assuming a kiss will guarantee love.
Sorry I'm late. I had to go pee.
Realizing that all of my coworkers are glad that I'm not shaped like a letter P because I'd be reciting this line of dialogue all day, every day.
We're not going to the palace. We're going to Earth.
Why? You know a math expert there?
Unfortunately, I do.
Hell yeah, that might have been a rough cold open, but at least the math expert must be Rick. After barely being in last week's summer episode, I'm looking forward to him taking center stage again. These discount TIE fighters aren't fighting against the Alpha Betrium's literal X and Y wings. Come on, guys, it was right there. You even had lightsabers last season, so don't give me all that copyright shit.
You're coming with me, Morty. Why? It's called detention, not release,
Yes, but this show is called Rick and Morty, not Rick and whoever you are plus Ice-T, so I guess we're all bending some rules today.
Hit the hyphen drive.
No! No!
But can't she just follow him? She got to Earth at basically the same time as Water T, which means she both has the ability to track him and travel as fast as him. Why is exclamation?
Why do you guys hate each other so much?
Why do all teachers hate all students, Morty? Because you all break our goddamn hearts.
May I recommend, for many reasons, not falling in love with your students?
Coming out of Helvetica Lightspeed.
Listen, I'm all for puns, but could I have at least one that wasn't Comic Sans? Get it? Because it's Sans comic. There's no comedy. It's a good pun.
I'm sick and tired of this bullshit. Yo, 7, count this.
Water T, P, Math Guy, and Morty all survived this sudden depressurization into the vacuum of space.
Jesus Christ!
Either the Numericons are co-opting a religious figure from Earth, or there just so happened to be a historical figure in their history called Jesus Christ. Why force a number into Jesus when there are options like Jane Austen, or Harrison Ford, or Tupac? Okay, Tupac is a stretch, but 50 Cent just felt unearned.
Obviously, they want to take us to their village for an Ewok party.
I was not invited to said Ewok party, and I was the one person in 1983 who said they didn't suck.
You guys don't get out much, huh? It seems kind of obvious that these scribbles are like the original species.
Attempting to explain one's culture that you are not part of to them.
Yo, I just want to thank my words, the letters that made them, and that's it.
Giving a about anything that happens at the Grammys.
If you're pregnant, that's my cell number.
Math teachers who have their own business cards. Scene does not contain a 6 and a 9. Are the chains just a decorative symbol of enslavement? So far, Water T has used telekinesis or some to manipulate weapons and other objects, so forgive me if I don't believe these chains are stopping mind bullets.
I never knew.
You never asked.
Oh, off. You could have told him. Why did he need to ask? Let's stop this unrealistic bullshit expectation that everybody should be psychic and just know when to dig in on a problem. I mean, except Rick, who actually is psychic.
I don't get it!
Neither do we, but if you think claiming your confusion of the plot out loud by a random character keeps you sin-free, then you haven't met me.
The dead rule nothing.
The sheer volume of movies, TV shows, and other media based on the zombie apocalypse have limped into this episode and have become the highest form of intelligence.
I am infinity, omnipotent god of numbers.
But what if it hadn't been 8 that did the double crossing and got transformed? Would Dreadnought have had to wear a belt around its middle to squeeze it into an infinity sign? Would 2 3s have had to go in at the same time? And 3 sus Christ knows what would have happened to poor Alex Pettifer.
The bracket shield has fallen. It's an utter apostrophe.
That pun didn't even make sense. Apostrophe and catastrophe just share some mouth noises, you utter C-word. Put some more effort into the art form of punning before I do a number on you and alpha beat your C into the Hindi alphabet where you won't exist.
I am bigger than letters. I am bigger than numbers. My balls are huge.
Testicular vanity.
Here's a number for you, lady. 86 that ass. You're fired.
Look, how the is getting 86 to thing on other planets?
Kill, murder, death.
This self-proclaimed omnipotent being has decided to settle for flying and shooting lasers instead of being omnipotent.
Why doesn't one hate an eye?
How did the scribble know to equip the ship with an epic sound system for this discount Lil Nas X Machina?
Rise up! Letters and numbers, I said rise up!
Rumor has it Lin-Manuel is currently developing a time machine so he can go back to 2008 and prevent himself from writing Hamilton just so that this rap wouldn't exist.
Hello? Hello?
This Jerry is lost, confused, and a Jerry cliche is only here to hide the fact that your discount Flatliners cold open has already killed him 8 times. He knows exactly where he is and what's going on. Stop using his tomfoolery as a convenient plot device. Justice for Jerry.
What have you done? You got my grandparents pissed at me!
To be fair, having spent almost 7 seasons with you, Jerry, I feel pretty comfortable saying you most likely pissed them off a long time ago, and that ship has definitely sailed.
They're Zero Matt's fields of consciousness preserved by a paradimensional layer of infinite energy?
Using science-like words to yada-yada your way into exploiting the afterlife like you're some kind of entry in the Ghostbusters franchise.
Great, so there's a heaven.
Citation needed.
I want to tap this paradimension's energy.
For this episode, Rick is going to be more oil man than scientist, and he doesn't even rant a little bit about drinking people's milkshakes or abandoning his child.
My intact consciousness is too atheistic to get channeled to any afterlife worth robbing.
But you're not really trying to rob the afterlife as much as you're trying to milk the infinite layer of bullshit that this show, I mean, the afterlife, is based on.
You don't even know how to appreciate that because you've never been in energy debt.
You, I've been tired.
Ah, Morty with the witty retort. Our boy's all grown up.
Your grandpa's gonna be the first Valhalla.
No, just because you don't come back from space, that doesn't make you any less of an astronaut. And you've embarked on this unholy expedition expecting to find Vikings there. Scene proceeds to ruins my lunch. Also fine, so it's Bigfoot and not the abominable snowman. No space cocaine was involved, and it was only a couple weeks instead of a year. And even though I appreciate you expediting the relevance of Flea Flack's prophecy, I'm still pissed that episode forced me to witness over 80 instances of vomit.
I'm dead, Rick!
A feat arguably much easier than turning yourself into a pickle. Not so sure what the cause for celebration is.
So, is there a time window between battles where a guy could go off and, I don't know, gather resources?
Rick seems to be confusing the afterlife with a video game.
I'd plan on starting from scratch, but you're like way past the Iron Age here.
I'd love to spend all day with you discussing the beginning and end of the Iron Age and how that coincides with the history of the Vikings. And I'd love to discuss how Rick's statement here regarding technological advancement throws shade at the Metal Ages without acknowledging the significance and craftsmanship of the Ulfbert. But instead, I'm forced to ponder how a zero-mass collective projection has rules in line with our understanding of metallurgy, materials science, or even Newtonian physics. Blatantly bawling Bigfoot beguiling benevolent being before beating. Lucky for Bigfoot, he was put in a cell that had dirt flooring that was deep enough to dig a grave.
Bigfoot, do you have religion?
The more important question is, why do you think Bigfoot would understand English or any human language, Morty?
You must be made of piss and Dragon Balls to reach Valhalla at your age.
Dragon Ball Wii.
The old man, he's some kind of witch.
Thinking that someone is a witch because they were able to surprise you with a giant hammer to the head.
Somebody around here gonna make me some pants, or do I have to call the feds on this place?
Making your jokes for the viewer instead of the Vikings, who have no idea who or what the feds are.
I'd kill for a beer and a sandwich. Beef, cheese, no onions.
Saying no onions instead of just saying all the stuff you want on the sandwich. Rick's a dick to proper sandwich ordering etiquette.
He killed you, he killed me, and he was going to kill your clone.
But how would Morty know Bigfoot was going after Rick's clone? Bigfoot went after Rick's clone after Morty was killed and sent to Valhalla. Flagpole Sitter by Rick in Danger. Bigfoot just got to the town area. How would these cops know to show up with all the f***ing tranquilizers? Are giant monsters showing up a common issue here? Because if so, why don't you f***ing move?
And who are you? CIA? Interpol?
We're working for the man upstairs.
Thinking we know anything about the tenants in your building.
You are a thinking beast from outside God's domain.
Choosing to ignore the whole all creatures great and small bit of any part of the Bible because it doesn't fit your current stance. Also known as all organized religions. I find it interesting they took the time to cover up the naughty bits with the leaf, but didn't bother to just give Rick's clone some clothes. There wasn't a spare robe laying around. It's the f***ing Vatican. There was definitely a spare robe laying around.
They're sending more every time.
It's fine. I'll upgrade the turret's rate of fire.
Rick chooses this solution to the constant attacks, resulting in the Vikings respawning again and again at their save point instead of just knocking them all out and chaining them up like he did to the blacksmith earlier. Being killed by machinas in an afterlife with no deus?
I just love worshiping the devil with you guys.
Episode knows I'm curious about where the devil worshippers end up, and we don't even get the slightest glimpse of their afterlife.
You work for the Vatican.
Forcing someone or something to work for you without their explicit consent.
I traded a Predator 3 muskets for it. So it is that currency.
The Catholic Church continuing to do business with predators.
Whoever's doing this would have to be a spiritual leader with limitless resources.
This is efficient because we know it's the Pope, but it's also boring and it feels less like Rick is trying and more like he's just guessing and being right.
People are intelligent in different ways.
My excuse when I have to have the rules of Old Maid explained to me for the 100th time somehow makes its way into the episode. Pope.
It's over, the Pope. We got you.
Using an unnecessary article before anything's name. Did you happen to attend the Ohio State University, Rick? Because that would explain so much about why you're an unrelenting dick.
Why is he in a clone of Summer?
Statistically speaking, she's the third most likely to die.
Over Jerry? Does Rick ever even watch his own show?
Whoa!
Pope.
I gotta admit, Morty, I didn't really fight that time. I wanted to make sure this worked.
Doing a live test of your resurrection machine before you're even certain it'll work.
Whoa!
Pope.
Really wish we had time to unpack all of Frankenstein's parts making it here.
Show is now just pointing out its own sins as a desperate attempt to hack its way into heaven.
Is your mother's a trick?
These Vikings are really affected by this cat joke.
Whoa!
Pope.
Who do you bring this time? The Harlem Globetrotters?
That's actually a good pitch.
Things are getting so meta that I'm going to recommend that the show and its writers just get a room. A writer's room.
Popey ball. There.
Okay.
If I didn't say anything, someone was going to be like, you missed Popey ball. It was right there. I thought about not using a Pokeball because of that, and it's just the right tool for the right job. What, am I supposed to not use it and shoot the Pope in the head?
You could have just crossed the streams on your Pontiff packs while saying, I ain't afraid of no Pope. There. Okay? We all know if I didn't say anything, someone was going to be like, you didn't sin the Pokeball bit. And I even thought about not using Pontiff Packs because it's the wrong tool for the wrong job. But otherwise, I'd end up adding a sin for Rick not shooting the Pope in the head. Wait, why are we going straight into the opening title sequence? What do we even call this? Is it a hot opening? And what do we even call this? Is it a hot opening, the title of my sex tape?
I'm gonna rip out your spleen and feed it to your husband.
I don't think there's anything strange about the husband thing, not just because I'm woke, but also because Rick and Morty got at least half married during the previous Leon fiasco in Full Meta Jack Rick, and I don't know where this Cronenberg is getting its intel or how marriage law works in this specific cartoon reality. Writers, do you see what I am now? Do you see what you've made me become?
This Carnival of Nightmares used to be scary, right?
We've seen too much.
It sucks, you know, because it's fun to break off a scare now and then.
Mort Book by Meta says the theme running through this episode out loud regarding the possibility of a narrative getting stale. Now only time will tell whether or not these kind of choices to be self-referential are the right thing to do or everything wrong with this show. But damn it, the writers take big swings and deserve some recognition for that. So I'll remove one sin here and act like that is all the episode deserves, because I'm a nice guy.
Like yourselves, I'm a connoisseur of fear.
Scene mentions a connoisseur of fear, but does not include one Mr. George A. Romero or a William Toby Hooper or a Bozo the Clown. What? You know Bozo scared the shit out of you as well. What was going on behind that painted-on smile? We may never know.
Okay, lumberjack slam, graham sandwich, pancake puppy, slam burger, 2 milkshakes, and an order of cheddar tots.
Scene does not contain a moons over my hammy. Choosing to venture down any hole that one finds in a men's restroom. Or honestly, just choosing to go into a men's restroom is sinful enough. Why do they always smell like disinfectant and tang? We may never know.
You know those fish that nibble dead skin off your feet? Yeah, the hole's kind of like that. It eats fear.
Discount Rod Serling suggests the possibility that fear has mass, and Rick lets this slide without a thorough investigation. Is there power in the next stall? What's this even plugged into? The only hole I'm concerned with is the one in the wall. I'm talking about the power outlet, obviously.
Okay, the hole thinks I'm scared of not having a gun.
The hole sounding a lot like Europeans who visit America, and Rick sounding a lot like Americans who visit America. Me immediately knowing they're still in the hole because I can't think of anything more scary than living in a world where not even cake is cake.
Wait, are we sure this isn't like a double mislead?
Making your characters worried about the same thing that kept TVSins up at night for 7 seasons.
I knew he was working on teleportation, but wouldn't this be time travel?
It doesn't matter if it's time travel because none of it will be real, so the show can keep its conscience clean knowing it hasn't sunk to the level of Ant-Man and the Wasp. This was a reference to the Vat of Acid episode. I hope you're happy. Do you see what you've made me become?
I deliver you waffles and an apology.
The robot will have a crisis. They will f*** off to the zoo and these waffles will go uneaten.
The zoo sounds nice.
It does not, and Harambe's ghost will be taking the stand to testify. Episode drinks a dangerous amount of Dimetap for all of the some time.
My turn.
Love. Morty gets cooler accessories in the hole than in the real world that we view as his reality in the cartoon I'm watching, in this manufactured YouTube reality that exists on the internet in the simulation that we're all currently experiencing as reality, or something like that, I think.
I doubt your grandpa has more fear than the average asshole in a Denny's.
Not being clear as to whether you're talking about the asshole or the literal butthole attached to some asshole, because I'm sure each of them have different levels of concern about ingesting Denny's.
Happiness is a trap. It can't last forever.
Hey now, that is... No, actually discount Jordan Peele's doing a discount Rod Serling assessment is totally fair. You know what makes my whiner hurt? Reading.
There's no understudy!
What kind of second-rate Mickey Mouse production has no understudy? Morty's fear reality doesn't know how to drama club correctly.
How did your universe's version end?
Jack, Locke, and Sawyer teamed up to kill a fog monster and everyone got rescued.
How does another universe's Lost finale sound worse than the one we actually got? Maybe this is my greatest fear. Am I in the hole? I am, aren't I? Is Bozo gonna be right around the corner? No, seriously. Is Bozo the f***ing clown gonna be right around the corner?
What's happening?
Morty, he's trying to hog the hole.
As true as that may be, we know how greedy Morty can be with the hole. I have to ask why the hole is wasting time and energy actualizing this date when Rick is not even in the hole.
Now throw your hands up and put your hands down.
Trying to mask the obvious problems with your set by focusing on crowd work, aka rifing. The imaginary skin on their imaginary knees survives this.
I just had to crucify myself in order to save you from your whole wife.
We all know that consummation is a part of matrimony. There's no need to be crude, Morty.
$8 for a side of bacon?
Are you f***ing kidding me?
Saw that coming and it was still hilarious. But the episode is about growth, and we all saw it coming as soon as we saw the receipt.
Are you afraid we're still in it?
I mean, I hope we're not. But if we are...
We'll find out eventually.
Which no longer scares me.
Except for that whole "you'll die if you don't eventually get out of the hole" part. That should scare you. This episode loves breakfast so much it should marry it. Which is only a sin because there have been no f***ing pancakes. And I know they got a lumberjack slam at the beginning, which traditionally does come with a side plate of pancakes. But the waiter did not put any fluffy, delicious joy discs on the table, meaning they did something unthinkable and subbed it with pancake puppies, which I didn't even think was legal, but regardless, they do not count. They're not even towing, they're hauling. Also, I realize this truck has the same logo on it from the pilot episode and season 3's Rick Mansing the Stone, and yeah, we send the bullshitness then of how the toes are bending in the logo. We also dared anyone to send us pics of their feet bending like this, and you sick actually did it. So, even though most of these still don't nail the picture, look at that pinky toe! Congrats on trying to prove me wrong, which I guess means I should remove those 20 sins? Well, I won't, because now the sin is for anyone who'd actually send pictures of their bending toes to a sketchy email address given in a YouTube video, which I must mention again was totally for research purposes, and not because the narrator likes pictures of feet. And for the record, the email address is pixar.didn't-happen@cinemasins.com. Moving on. Jerry isn't at Summer's wedding for some reason, not excluding him being placed at the Jerry Burrito. And Morty's imaginary life montage cliche cares so little about Jerry that we don't even find out why. Justice for imaginary Jerry.
You're not even in the hole, are you?
Considering how little of Rick has actually been in episodes this season, this checks out. I hope all that time off rejuvenates him for what I'm sure will be a good season 8. I can't even say it with a straight face, but I really did try. Also, giving an animated character time off from a series.
Okay, buddy. Let's go slam some pancakes.
You! Shaving your face without looking in a mirror.
Anyway, no matter. We both sound alike.
Jerry, pay the dealer.
Pay that man his money.
Hey, buddy. Brought you a coffee.
It's Ken! Coming to kill me!
Dad, you can't keep putting this off. You're doing an intervention with us.
Nope.
Intervention! Intervention is nothing private, Frank!
You know this can't make the concept work, not comedically or clinically. Its success rate is 10% in both areas.
It was my understanding that there would be no math.
I hired a predator to follow her around.
That's not a predator, that's a sports hunter.
If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Please state the nature of the... Don't bother.
It doesn't matter, Rick. The guy's already kissing your ass.
You clearly don't know who you're talking to, so let me clue you in. I am not in danger, Skylar. I am the danger.
What are we, Walter White?
Whoever you are, you're in Rick's body. Use your implant.
Shut up, Wesley.
I got a boner.
My cabbages!
Forget it, Burger.
It's our calling card.
We're the sticky bandits.
I have a hole in my stomach.
8:58. First time I've ever been early for work.
It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Rick, meet Flea Flag. Onyx here is a weapons specialist.
My name is Cork. I'm kind of like the leader in here, made of rocks.
And I'm using your last paycheck to cover the stapler you stole, which was my heart.
Welcome to hell, mother. Cue up the dome. Yes, sir.
Do you have a dome the size of every state?
Rochambeau for the dome, Doc?
You ghosted me!
Which, side note, was a terrible movie.
What are you doing?
Do you know what it really reminds me of? Tasty wheat.
That's some good spaghetti!
That accent is terrible.
Rick, I gotta know, what's the secret ingredient?
Silent Green is people!
What is that smell?
Do you like biscotti?
It's not too late to repent your sins. But first, let's pass the collection plate.
Good afternoon to everyone. I'm Kenny Powers. And if you're here, then you're someone Shane cared about, or someone Shane loved. Or maybe you're just somebody who has no business being here at all, who's just here because you think it's going to make you more popular, like Ivan.
Oh. Kind of sort of an Okie afterbirth.
And would you consider yourself a typical Earthian?
What's typical? Give me typical. Give me some tip.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
But we can fix it, right, Rick?
No. There's no we.
this time, pal.
Once it hits your lips, it's so good.
Eye patch guy, you are the man!
I've glimpsed our future, and all I can say is, go back.
Now we can visit infinite universes!
Sounds like the worst vacation ever.
And how are the horrors of the infinite today, sir?
Look, Stewie, get these stupid 80s movie robots out of here and leave me alone.
Son of a bitch! You killed my wife!
Oh, nice shooting, Tex.
You suck to eat day!
Tastes like paint.
So now I can erase your whole family, one by one, until you finally learn your lesson.
Nobody f***s with the Jesus.
Halt, unidentified adventurers.
We are the keepers of the sacred words. Ni, Peng, and Niwom.
Who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3.
Box Troll cannot choose a new life.
I like his voice. I don't like that he's doing jokes.
I don't like his beard. What?
And I see all assholes.
And you can see
My foot up your ass.
That's kind of enjoyable.
Right again, little buddy.
Hi, I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend to the end.
Come on, guys, boo her!
Are you saying boo or boo-earns?
Why do you think I risked it with the tongs?
Because you got cocky and overplayed your hand.
I make less than minimum wage and I got 5 kids!
Wear a condom, Philip.
Come on now!
I will f*** you up!
What is this, your first Taken?
I have a very limited set of skills. I don't even know Excel.
Here, Summer, check this out.
It's booty camp time.
Me? You're crazy, man. I like you, but you're crazy.
Whoa, he's got a knife!
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Sorry I'm late. I had to go pee.
That was not funny.
You don't gotta read Lithium P. It's math.
It was my understanding that there would be no math.
What is that sound? Who is using earbuds to listen to rap music?
Guess you guys aren't ready for that yet, but your kids are gonna love it.
Water T escaped with the Eye of Harmony.
You have failed me for the last time.
Planet E10?
Ain't E10 supposed to be where God created letters or some
This is SETI Alpha 5.
Oxygen S. We deciphered the Eye of Harmony, and we're headed to E10.
That doesn't make sense.
And I'm sure that Jessica would like to thank my parents.
Damn, T. That's cold.
The Iceman cometh.
Nana!
Are you ready to come to the light?
Run to the light, Caroline. Run as fast as you can.
Beautiful hammer.
Oh my god, Hammer pulled you off.
An all-new Alma balls.
Oh, my balls! Oh, my balls!
Morty? Why are you here? What the f***, Morty? You're my ride home!
And somehow I just ended up becoming the designated driver.
I said I was sorry.
And I said, keep killing them.
Softly. Okay, now try 000-001.
You know what they say.
Don't count your gross fish babies.
Who's the Pope? If I know.
Let me check. This guy, apparently.
This is one crazy Pope.
Swallow this.
Who are you? Does the suit mean you work here? Or that you super don't work here?
Sunnyvale Rest, a home for the aged, a dying place, and a common children's game called Kick the Can.
No! I'm at Denny's!
Well, it's definitely a hole. They weren't lying about that.
On the whole, I think Preparation H feels good.
Oh, if I see a hole, I'll hide in that hole.
I deliver you waffles and an apology. Why do I have memories of being a human child? Why?
God damn it. There was a whole second verse about
The Crimean War.
We no longer need to know for in you, so bye.
Okay, slut.